They're serious about Project 2025. They're going to do all this. What do you have to say about the capitulation that you participated in and where the Democratic Party is right now?
Well, first of all, I would say very pointedly that one of the things I dislike about the Democratic Party is that we do a circular firing squad all the time. Their party, they disagree. There's a wild disagreements in the Republican tent, and yet they don't shoot at each other. And we have a really good way of holding up these purity tests that if I agree with you on 95...
That's such bullshit. That is such bullshit. They fire at each other all the time. Trump has sent so many people out to pasture, so many people that he calls rhinos. Liz Cheney can tell you that they have the firing squad as well. It's not a purity test. It's, are we in this fight and are we being beholden to corporations and corporate interests? Are we really the party of the working class?
We're ready. We're prepared. Do not give in to fear. We are fearless. This is not the time to be afraid. This is a time to stand up and fight back and to resist any temptation for them to divide us. We're in this together. The rule of law is on our side. We will not give in, not give up. We will not capitulate. We will not bow. We will not bend. We will survive.
Today I want to dive in to the politics because there's a lot going on in this country on purpose, a lot of chaos, a lot of things being thrown at us. But accountability is where I want to land. And I want to shout out a couple of people at the same time. I want to say something that I normally wouldn't say. So Cory Booker went on I've Had It with Jennifer Welch and Angie Pump Sullivan. And he showed up for them on camera, ready to talk. He allowed them to ask him questions, and he didn't try to filibuster. They cussed him out, and he sat there and took it. And I'm saying this because I've known Cory Booker for a long time. I, of course, some of you know, I was a journalist at the New York Daily News. I was on the editorial board. I followed him on his first run for Newark mayor, which he lost. I remember hanging out with him at a pizzeria in the corner and going to his apartment and going to his place where he had his campaign. And we hung out and talked about everything from, him going to Germany to study, leadership under Tony Robbins and how much it cost and all. And his mother was like, I know him. Then he became mayor. And I've had a meeting with him when he was in the office, but it turned very weird, political. And I'm saying this because the few times he's been invited on the show quite frequently. A couple of times, and Smith can attest to this. He will come on, not show up in person. When he is on the phone, he'll try to filibuster. Like if you ask him a question, he will take the damn scenic route around to get to the damn answer. And I know that's a political strategy because I've been doing this a long enough time. I'm like, you don't want to answer my questions. Thank you, Smith. And I'm only saying this because I watched him sit with two white ladies and didn't do any of that to them. And I don't know what it is. I know a lot of people do avoid this platform, definitely this show. I feel like everybody that comes in gets a fair shot. I'm not trying to do the gotchas. I don't set you up to fail. I really want to know. I actually want to set you up to win because if you have the answers, this is the place you want to come. I'm going to ask you questions most people will not. And I'm not just tooting my horn, but damn it, I'm good at this. So watching this interview, I was like, oh, I see you. And I'm glad you got exposed in a way I'm going to show everybody today because shame on you. Dude, you are in the Senate, and we know you were mayor of Newark because you were setting up on the Senate, then you were setting up on the presidency. This was always your goal. You weren't there to necessarily serve the people of Newark or the people of New Jersey. You have higher aspirations. This has been on your to-do list, which is why I'm not going to get too personal, but stop it. And all of the other stuff is performance. And I'm sick of, you should be sick of, everybody should be sick of, the performative way in which people who are in office feel like we should be kissing their asses, not the other way around. They work for us. And if we don't get anything through our heads, is that we have the power. We are in control. They need our vote. And there's no amount of glad handing and filibustering. Yes, and we know he's good at filibustering, but he's done that one too many times on this show to the point I don't invite him anymore. Just so you know. Just so you know. Because I know already we're not going to get anything out of it. He's demonstrated that this is who he is. But to see him sit with those white ladies and then let them cuss him out, I said, oh, sir. You are exposed today, and I'm here for it. Sorry. So it's about damn time. Okay, so he went on the I Have It podcast, and Jennifer Welch from the door did not. Let's play the first clip, Smith.
Feels like the Democratic opposition is just not getting it. There are votes that you've made that were heartbreaking to me, like the vote for Kushner. That really pissed me off. This administration, it's not, are they fascist? They are fascist. It's not, we're on the precipice of fascism. Texas is sending troops to Illinois. I feel like the opposition needs to be fuck no across the board. We're not giving you a centimeter. And I think there's been a lot of capitulation, Neville Chamberlain type appeasement from Democratic leadership. And you're one of them that's kind of been disappointing to me because we podcasted before. They're serious about Project 2025. They're going to do all this shit. What do you have to say about the capitulation that you participated in and where the Democratic Party is right now?
Well, first of all, I would say very pointedly that one of the things I dislike about the Democratic Party is that we do a circular firing squad all the time. Their party, they disagree. There's a wild disagreements in the Republican tent, and yet they don't shoot at each other. And we have a really good way of holding up these purity tests that if I agree with you on 95.
That's such bullshit. That is such bullshit. They fire at each other all the time. Trump has sent so many people out to pasture, so many people that he calls rhinos. Liz Cheney can tell you that they have the firing squad as well. It's not a purity test. It's, are we in this fight and are we being beholden to corporations and corporate interests? Are we really the party of the working class?
Smith, did you hear him cut her off and then go on a filibuster? Did you hear him do that? No, he didn't actually. He sat there and let her say to his face, thank you. That's BS. No. She cut him off and then proceeded to tell him why everything he just said was full of shit. And he sat there like, and took it. I was shocked, actually. I said, oh, where's all that energy you bring here? Where is it? She wasn't done. And by the vote for Kushner, that was Jared Kushner's dad, who was a convicted felon, Charles Kushner, for ambassador. I forgot what, but he had voted for him. Charles, hold on, let me look this up in real time because I want to make sure I got because I don't remember it off the top of my head. Ambassador Kushner. What is it? France? Okay. Charles Kushner, ambassador to France and Monaco. France and Monaco. He voted for this convicted felon to be our representative in France. He voted yes because at some point Kushner gave him money. There's a common theme today. There's going to be a common theme today about where the money. We're going to follow the money. We're going to follow the money. That's a rule in journalism too. We're going to follow the money. But I want to thank Jennifer Welch and Andrew Sullivan for asking questions and not letting people off the hook. I appreciate what they do. I've had it. I love the podcast. All right, let's go to the second one.
Do you think he's a war criminal, Benjamin Netanyahu? Do you think he's a war criminal?
These are questions that a lot of people think are the important litmus tests that are loaded and hot. My urgency is to be an effective leader in bringing an end to this crisis. And I get these questions all the time that to me undermine my urgency.
I think the thing that Democrats get so frustrated with, where we are right now, where you see like the Zoran Mamdanis and the Graham Plattners rise up, because they can go on podcasts and you can say, do you think Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal? And they just say, yes. And that's the end of it. It's not all of the rhetoric answering. It's like what happens to Democratic politicians, they go through this like prism and then we can't ever get like the answer to yes or no conversations like you do with Bernie and others. And that's the frustration for the Democratic
Do I think Netanyahu is worse than Trump? Yes.
That wasn't the question. Her question was, is he a war criminal? You see what he did, y'all? Oh, my God. That was not the question. sir. And he knows it wasn't a question. He was not going to answer that question because you know why? You want to know why? Because Jennifer Welch had let's do the one where she talks about hold on. Should we do the 4 or the 5? Because she said there's a picture. Let's do number 5. Go on now. Number 5.
The United States, and particularly the Democratic Party, we have to be leaders on this issue with Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu. It's something
wait.
There
pause,
is a
pause,
big,
Smith. Pause.
loud...
I'm sorry, Smith. Go back. Let's do number 4. You're right. Do number 4. Apologies.
The base feels like right now, and I know that you're in the Beltway, but I think the Democratic base feels like there is a disconnect. Like, we hear you, like when you did your 25-hour speech, I was like, go, Cory. I love this. That is amazing. And then there's a photo shoot with you with Benjamin Netanyahu. And I was just like, what in the actual fuck? Like, how can he do that? It was heartbreaking. I felt betrayed.
Yeah.
And hang on. And that doesn't just happen in an echo chamber. It's important when there are Democrats like you, where the base, we should make each other better. We need to evolve. And I love that you come on here. We need to have these conversations. It's not a purity test. We want credible messengers, because when we are down the middle and beholden to corporate interests, then we leave this vacuum, and that's how fascism has flourished. And so for myself and a lot of our listeners, when I saw the picture with Benjamin Netanyahu, I felt like it diminished your 25 hours. That's how it felt to me.
So a few things. One is, I work in the Beltway. I live in the Central Ward in Newark, New Jersey. Streets that a lot of folks tell folks, why would you demean and degrade my communities? I keep a little picture here, the first place I represented at 28 years old, which is a Black community that's struggling. And we've transformed our schools, our supermarkets, new parks, urban farm.
I don't know if y'all hearing what I'm hearing. And he still didn't answer. He still didn't answer her direct question. And respond to the direct question about you taking a picture with this man. Could call him a war criminal. And you taking pictures, and she said it diminished you did this whole performance. And that one picture just made it all go away. Like, erased all of that filibustering that you did, because that's what you do. You're really good at it. Whew. But they weren't finished. General Welch kept going. They kept going, and he sat there for it. So this is a longer clip. This is a little longer clip. But I was so both happy that they did this, and at the same time I said, Cory Booker, why? And I try not to go in on these people, because the reality is, if Cory Booker's running against somebody like a Jack Ciattarelli, if Jack Ciattarelli loses the governors and then runs against him for Senate, I'm voting for Cory Booker. If the truth is, we have a Trump supporter versus Cory Booker, he's going to get the vote every time, which I think he knows. And I think at the same time they're playing in our faces, which is why I'm encouraging people to run. Run, Forrest, run. Like, we need more people who are out there so we have better choices. We shouldn't have to do the lesser of two evils. And we have time now to build coalition, to get candidates up and running and ready, to vet them, to hold people accountable, to see if there's a star being born in real time, because there is. I promise you, there's somebody out there that will do a better job representing, because that's the job of a representative, all of us. I just felt personally betrayed, but also for collectively betrayed that he's such a politician, and it's so unnecessary. And every time you get cornered, you bring up Newark. You're not from there. My daddy's from Newark. I'm not from Newark. I'm from East Orange. And you're not from East Orange. I'm saying something right now. As it relates to Jersey. You're not from East Orange. You're not from Newark. But you always bringing up where, you always repping a place that you didn't forge you. And I'm not saying that it had to. I'm saying that it probably had to for you to rep it as hard as you do. Say all this to say, you sat up and let these ladies. Somebody said in the Nubia chat, he got sunned by 2 housewives, real housewives. I said, we're not going to put them in that category. But yes, the sentiment is right there. You won't come talk to real journalists who actually don't hate you, but want the best for the people. And coming to Urban View, let me just say that with my full chest, you are talking to more of your constituents than any other platform you're going to go on. I promise you. So when people avoid this platform, it's not, I don't take it personally. I take it personally for us. How dare you not come where we have real journalists and social justice warriors who know how to ask questions? And the biggest audience you're probably ever going to get of your actual constituents. It's crazy. So I'm not going to be quiet anymore. And just so y'all know, I've been very quiet for me. No more. It's time. It's time. Step up or sit down. But what you're not going to do is play in our faces, and I'm not going to not say something. So I'm going to play this last clip. It's kind of long, but Jennifer Welch, thank you again. I've had it as a podcast. She and Angie Sullivan do a great job. Play the last clips, Ms.
The United States, and particularly the Democratic Party, we have to be leaders on this issue with Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu. It's something that there is a big, loud beat in the base that's permeating all across the country. When you have people in Oklahoma that have never been political before start to talk about it. And here's what I'm scared about. And I've been talking to other politicians that have come on the pod about this. You have Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is an anti-Semite. She is a real Jew hater to the core. And she is starting to message now. MAGA is not America first, where they've been Israel first. And for rural people and suburban people, when they hear that messaging, it allows a grifter and an opportunist like Marjorie Taylor Greene, for people that don't follow the 24-hour news cycle, to say, yeah, why do they have free health care and we don't? Why are we sending them all of these bombs and they're killing kids and we don't? I think in order for us to come together as a party in 2026, it's going to take leadership saying things like Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal. We have to stop funding the war. And we've evolved on the issue. And I think it's okay. I think we're all at a place right now where we can accept that we have the leaders that we have. And I agree with you that we agree on 98 out of 100 things. And if we agreed 100 out of 100, we'd be in a cult, would be MAGA. And we're not that. We're always going to disagree on things. And I genuinely hear you when you say, people don't know who Chuck Schumer is. You're exactly right. So many Americans do not know who that is at all. We all do, obviously. And I think the economic messaging, but I do think that if the Democrats leave this vacuum there, it's going to get filled by the people in MAGA that are seeing a post-Trump America. And it's super easy messaging with the America First thing. It's just something I want you to think about, because I think it's a political liability for our party right now.
They're calling me for a vote. Let me just say this. So first of all, why aren't people talking about when Obama was using American jets to refuel Saudi planes that were dropping bombs on Yemenis children? Why weren't we yelling and screaming about it? I spoke out against it.
But it was bad, but we have to talk about current.
Please let me finish, because they're going to pull me away.
Okay.
Why? And again, I've been fighting for more funding from the Horn of Africa to the Congo to Sudan. Why can't we get people to care in this country enough, where our top podcasts are saying it's wrong that we are implicated in so many things, people dying on the continent of Africa? Why Haiti? Why can't I get top mainstream media people to give a damn about the atrocities there? The International Criminal Court singles out Israel, but not Iran, not Syria, not other folks. I don't understand. I'm with you on the ending of the nightmare and the ceasefire. I'm with you on criticizing the Netanyahu administration, which I think is worse than the Trump administration. But as a guy who is focusing so much of my effort on ending human suffering on the planet Earth, on the biggest humanitarian nightmares, I can't get people with powerful platforms to speak even once about the nightmares that are going on. It drives me nuts. And it makes me feel like I have felt when I was representing Newark, New Jersey. To get people in our country to care enough. Why do I stand out and support people that you and others criticize me for voting for? Because I will never forget when nobody cared about mass incarceration of Black and brown people who stood up for them. Why am I get so angry sometimes about my own party, who seems to be distracted by issues that don't matter, and not to the core of people who cannot afford to pay rent and buy groceries?
Y'all heard that, right? I thought they were calling him for a vote, too. What happened? Okay. He couldn't answer the question without upsetting his donors. So he pivoted, and this is classic, to the doubling down on the Black thing. I'm not going to answer this question about Israel because I need this money. Matter of fact, I don't need this money. They done gave me $200 million over the last... Baby, I'm not messing with my money, but I'm going to throw out Obama. What Obama got to do with it? You done put Obama into it. He done went to Haiti. Hey, Obama. Done went to the Sudan. And listen, let me just say, he's not wrong, because that's the trick of this, right? So I'm going to throw out something that is true, because they don't care about the Sudan and Haiti and Africa. But do you really care? Because I didn't see you. Somebody actually did research. He had one tweet on the Sudan, and I think one tweet and one other kind of messaging around some other, what else is going on in Africa. This has not been your crusade or your campaign. You've taken whole ass pictures with Netanyahu. You done been to how many fundraisers? How many dollars have you taken from the lobby that is telling you that you can't call him a war criminal? Because they're telling you that. Because you know that he is. And Jennifer, in your face, told you that he is, and you know that he is. So why aren't you saying that? Money, the dollars tied to him. And we've talked about this a lot. But this is how, moving into the midterms, we're going to have to be very, 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 very conscious of who's in the pocket of whose money is driving which candidates and why. Doesn't disqualify them from your vote. Because again, if a Shitterelli's running against Cory Booker for the Senate, I'm voting for Cory Booker. Because I'm not stupid. I'm not voting against my own demise. I can at least protest this man, as I'm doing right now. I'm protesting Cory Booker in real time. However, this is what accountability looks like. She didn't let him just talk in his face. And he tried to filibuster to end whataboutisms. That is a classic. And he's a classically trained. He's a Rhodes Scholar. Man is brilliant. Brilliant. Knows how to run circles around most people. But the truth is undefeated. And when hit with direct questions, he can't answer them without exposing himself. And unfortunately, by not answering them, you exposed yourself. The very thing that you thought you weren't doing happened because you're counting on people not being smart enough to see what you're doing. Do better is the question. I'm not trying to say Cory Booker shouldn't be in the Senate. I'm saying he can do better. And yeah, you took them people's money. You don't owe them anything. You owe us everything. We are your constituents, not them. So it's time for you to stand on business. Okay. And I'm not going to bang on him every day, but today was important. And shout out again to Jennifer Welch and Angie Pumps Sullivan. I've Had It is their podcast, because you did what you're supposed to do. Who else is out there doing it? Van Lathan, Higher Learning, his podcast. And it is unfortunate that they're doing the work that journalists should be doing. They're doing the work that journalists, all of these news outlets, billions of dollars of news, we get none of this. We get no questions. So Gavin Newsom, who wants to be president, I'm positive of this. And I love his social media, by the way. He had a picture of Trump's Time magazine cover with the neck blurred out because, it looks like a vagina. Chef's kiss. It's just clever. Whoever's doing his social media, clever. And he's making the rounds. He's talking to everybody, being very sashay, out there being very sashay. So he was talking to Van Lathan, and Van asked him a question about funding. Play the clips, Miz.
Interesting. You're like the first to bring up AIPAC in years, which is interesting.
I will not vote for a candidate that takes $1 from AIPAC.
It's interesting. I mean, it's interesting. I haven't thought about AIPAC. And it's interesting. You're like the first to bring up AIPAC in years, which is interesting. Why did I say that? Not relevant to my day-to-day life.
Okay.
Which is just interesting.
Listen.
It's interesting you say that. JPAC perhaps more, but AIPAC less and less.
Okay. Fair enough.
Which is just interesting.
What's interesting about it?
That it's just interesting as you bring up AIPAC that it hasn't been part of. I'm just reflecting quite openly and honestly. Hasn't been part of the day to day.
Yeah. The only reason why I ask is because, with that, what I'm talking about is lobbying in and of itself.
How many times did he say interesting? I know you wanted to know. 10 times. In that less than a minute clip. 10 times in 52 seconds, he said interesting. Van Lathan asked him a question about AIPAC funding. I think, Van, you put yourself in a corner because everybody but AOC is taking money. AOC and I think Bernie Sanders have taken money from
baby girl.
Everybody has taken AIPAC money. Everybody. Okay? So you basically aren't going to be able to vote for anybody if that's the litmus test. The point I'm making is whatever these people deals they made, the deal that they have with us should be unbreakable, meaning we are the ones that have to hold them accountable and put them to the test, as Van Lathan just did with the question. And he was very, very demure with it. And Gavin was humming, turned into Daffy Duck in real time and kept saying interesting. It was weird. It's a trigger. I know he's trying to figure out how to answer this question. Didn't expect it to come from this man. You better start expecting some questions. And that also means people who are asking questions do better. Do a better job. If you can't at least hold people accountable to who's funding them and what they really stand on, you should not be having a microphone.
We're ready. We're prepared. Do not give in to fear. We are fearless. This is not the time to be afraid. This is a time to stand up and fight back and to resist any temptation for them to divide us. We're in this together. The rule of law is on our side. We will not give in, not give up. We will not capitulate. We will not bow. We will not bend. We will